Replicating Christ's character is the best way to prepare yourself to remain faithful during difficult times. It was the night before Jesus' trial. His betrayal and arrest would soon eventuate. Taking Peter, James, and John, Jesus escaped the city and went to Gethsemane for prayer. Jesus explained to his 3 disciples, "My soul is very sorrowful, even to death. Remain here and watch with me." Jesus knew the weakness of his disciples. Even so, he still engaged them in this intimate time of prayer. Falling on his face, Jesus prayed, "My Father, if it be possible, let this cup pass from me. Nevertheless, not as I will, but as you will." The intense stress of realizing that his death would be the next day brought Jesus face to face with the reality of God's will for him. Humanly speaking, he asked for a way out. Then he at once surrendered to the will of his Father. There's valuable lessons here. Be in prayer as preparation for suffering. Yield to God's will, even if it goes against your human desires. Include trusted believers who will share the intimacy of your suffering. Even if those friends disappoint you, still include them. Seek fellowship where you talk of the Lord together. What a fantastic opportunity Peter, James, and John had, learning from Jesus about preparing to remain faithful to God through the most extreme suffering imaginable. Instead, Jesus found them sleeping. Sadly, we can see ourselves in these men. Instead of getting their minds aligned with the sovereign will of God, they slept. They could not even record the rest of Jesus' prayer because they were sleeping instead of listening. As we read on, Jesus exhorted his 3 drowsy disciples, "Watch and pray that you may not enter into temptation. The spirit indeed is willing, but the flesh is weak." Jesus, despite his severe anxiety over the certainty of crucifixion, speaks kind yet strong words to Peter, James, and John. The key to remaining faithful during intense suffering is personalizing these 3 spiritual realities. Prayerfully be alert to the seduction of temptation. Sin will happily seize any opportunity to lure you into transgression when you feel weak. Recognize the deadly poison of having a soft attitude towards sin. It can only master you if you allow it. When you realize that you have right desires for the Lord while you are suffering, surrender them to action. No matter how difficult life becomes, there is always some way in which you can serve the Lord. Thank God often for the working of His Holy Spirit within you, especially in giving you a willing attitude. In humility, be honest about your own weaknesses. Sin can cause a caustic attitude which focuses on others' imperfections. Keep your eyes on Jesus and on healthy Christian relationships which inspire your faithfulness. We encourage you to think often of Christ. Then think of ways in which you can grow in these critical areas of life as you prepare yourself for faithfulness.